السلام عليكم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. اللهم بلغنا رمضان. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. اجعل لي وزيرا من أهلي هارون أخي أشد به أزري واشركه في أمري كي نسبحك كثيرا ونذكرك كثيرا إنك كنت بنا بصيرا. وصلى اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Welcome, dear friends. Inshallah, we will continue with our discussion of the 24th word, where we are looking into the human journey on how we can work on ourselves to realize the truth, the reality of why we are here in this world. And this whole journey, the author gave the example of three ways that he kind of touched upon using the analogies of a droplet, or basically a flower, and a droplet and a transparent atom. So let me just expand this here. Yeah. So these are the three kind of, in summary, on how the examples that the author kind of shared, that you can either follow the way a flower kind of, as an analogy, where it's a dense material, so it takes on the colors of whatever it's absorbing and holds on to it. And the other transparent, the droplet and the transparent particle basically kind of are very close enough to each other, but one takes maybe the dust in a way of some colors, and the last one basically just lets the light go through it in a transparent form. So we will continue basically with how the third phase, as the author is sharing, of the transparent particle is like, just to get a better understanding. So, and now our transparent particle like third friend. So this transparent particle like third friend who doesn't own anything, lets the whole light pass through it, doesn't claim anything, which is the prophetic path. So the prophet never claimed any of the qualities to himself. The message, he said, is not mine. And any of the miracles that he performed were not his. He said, these are all from my Lord. So this transparent particle is both poor and colorless. So it doesn't hold any color. He swiftly evaporates in the sun's heat. Okay, before I move on, Brother Ali, you have your hand up. Please go ahead.
Yeah, it is better just to make clear poor and colorless means what really they refer to. So just a minute. Now, poor means he is not claiming the virtue of what he is doing, and he is to be the source of it. I am poor. I have nothing, and I mean any virtue of himself. Yeah, and colorless means when he receives it, it keeps it preserves its pristine form, doesn't really change even the color of it. It means appearance of it, exactly as it is. How do you say? Colorless. It doesn't really affect it. How do you say? Preserves its pristine.
Original form?
Uh, Original, yeah, original, but you may paint it according to your liking. They don't do it. Exactly transfers. For example, original color is, let's say, pink. It doesn't make it red or less pink, close to white. No, pink is with exactly. It means it has never, or the person, this this person, he is in this category, never uh, affects its appearance. Hmm. Ah, according to his liking and his disliking, according to his capacity, you know, never changes it. Never changes. Exactly transfers it. That represents the Quran first.
Yes, that makes sense actually, because then I'm free to interpret that. I put color in it. If something is transparent in its pristine state, I get the idea, and then I transfer it within myself. I interpret that, and my interpretation gives it color.
Yeah.
Okay, makes
According to my liking or my capacity. So direct transfer.
Like a pass-through.
Yeah, yeah.
organic state.
Yeah.
What did you say, bro? Pass through?
Pass-through. It passes through the individual. So it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
keep anything of it,
Mm-hmm.
but it lets it, for example, lets the light pass through.
Mm.
Any of the virtues pass through it.
Makes sense, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so poor is not the physical poorness, but the human no claim to any virtues, as Brother Ali was mentioning, and the colorless keeps its pristine form, doesn't hold on to, but lets everything pass through it to any claim, basically, or any ownership of anything. So he swiftly evaporates in the sun's heat, abandons his egotism, mounts the steam. So mounts the steam is an interesting phrase. It's like kind of reminds me of the ascension and Burak mounting from the heat of the whatever, the evaporation, the steam, and rises into the air. It gets closer to its source of existence in a way, gets directly sees the meaning behind it. So the dense matter within him takes fire with the flame of love and is transformed into light and radiance. He adheres to a ray proceeding from the manifestations of that light and draws close to it. O you who resembles transparent particle, since you act as a direct mirror to the sun, at whatever degree you are, you will find an opening, a window, looking purely at the sun itself in a fashion that affords absolute certainty. This is also interesting. Basically, absolute certainty. So this conviction and certainty in whatever, how one's conclusions come to be, you will find an opening, a window looking purely at the sun itself in a fashion that affords absolute certainty. And you will experience no difficulty in attributing to the sun its wondrous works. Without hesitation, you will be able to ascribe to it the majestic attributes of which it is worthy. To ascribe to the sun, in this case, as an analogy to the source of existence, the Lord of the universe, all the majestic attributes of which that being is worthy. Nothing will be able to take you by the hand and make you forego ascribing to it the awesome works of its essential sovereignty. Neither the constriction of barriers nor the limitations of your capacity. Limitations of your capacity, nor the smallness of mirrors will confuse you, nor impel you contrary to the truth. Because since you look, what is this? Look.
There is a note.
Yes, I saw Furia's note about it. And so to the sun in this example, right, majestic attributes of which it is worthy, nothing will be able to take you by the hand, make you forego ascribing to the sun or to your source of existence the awesome works of his essential sovereignty. Neither the constriction of barriers nor the limitations of your capacity, nor the smallness of mirrors will confuse you. So as a human being with their qualities, potentialities, so nothing comes in as a barrier. That any of those barriers, we kind of spoke about it, seeing the whole cause and effect relationships and how the things are happening, but one sees the direct manifestations of the Lord of the universe. And the capacity fully conforms to it, doesn't hold on, but just submits everything to that source of existence. Nor the smallness of mirrors will confuse you. So no matter what your condition is in a way, but as long as your human senses, your human side spirit is submitting to the truth, the reality, then none of those smallness does not confuse you, nor impel you contrary to the truth. Because since you look at the sun, your Lord of existence, purely, sincerely, and directly, you have understood that what appears in the places of manifestation and is observed in the mirrors is not the sun, but manifestations of the sun of a sort, and colored reflections of the sun of a sort. For sure, those reflections are its titles, the sun's titles, but they do not display all the works of its splendor. So in the latter part of the paragraph, yes, so the author makes the case about those reflections are its qualities, manifestations of its qualities. But that's just a sample. It does not display all the works of the works or the art, the splendor of the Lord of the universe. So in this category of being a transparent particle, first one has to realize that they have to be, they cannot claim ownership of anything. So being poor and colorless, which is the prophetic path. So being poor and colorless, transparent particle, I cannot really claim anything. So belief, submission, and purifying the heart. So swiftly evaporates in the sun's heat, gives everything, attributes everything to its Lord, its source of existence. So whatever the sun's qualities being manifested, it submits to it, abandons his egotism, and mounts the steam to rise into the air. So this is how the prophetic path, prophetic way is in terms of the human being that one can follow in a way.
I think that's what we are all striving towards, because it's not an easy endeavor in terms of really recognizing our neediness, and then the poverty part. I think this is the striving of the human journey here. That's the aim, because I mean, like, even I mean, I was just like reading those points again. No claim to any virtues. Colorless, preserve its pristine form. I think that's what we're doing in terms of journeying to get back into the pure baby-like state. And through that journey, this is how we get to really know who we are and who our Lord is, like really, literally. A lot of cleaning to do, inshallah. And at the same time, like when I interpret something, even that doesn't belong to me. I think just realizing and recognizing this, but what I interpret is subject to my capacity. Just trying to understand that part.
Yeah, thank you. So whatever stage, whatever degree you're at, you will find an opening basically to look at the direct manifestation or just connect yourself in a way that adheres to this path that sees the direct manifestation of the qualities. and also without hesitation, basically. You see that everything is coming from the Lord of the universe. You can't say that, oh, because of this thing, something kind of happened because he played a role or played a part. But no, everything is direct manifestation, which is a total change of how one perceives the whole world. Right? This is contrary to what the civilization is teaching us or tells us, but seeing the direct work of the Lord of the universe is what's being mentioned. Okay. Brother Ali, please go ahead.
Two points attracted my attention. One is I was following the paragraph we read. From the very beginning, we started reading today that we read, yeah. At the beginning, abundance is egotism, mounts to steam and rises into the air. Because when you lose your hey, no, your what is heavy?
Heavy load and you become light, or
Yeah. Your, what's the word?
Burden?
Burden. Oh, there is no word for it in English, I think. Weight, no, your weight, let's say. Your burden, but your weight, it means your claim that I exist here myself. So abandon this. When we abandon this, we lose all our weight. What happens now? You start like air, heated air going up. Why heated air goes up? Because, I mean, comparatively, the molecule becomes larger when heated. And then it becomes lighter and goes up. The more we leave all our egotism, the more we become rising up and becoming more and more transparent in the air. In air, actually. So dense matter within him takes fire. This very interesting description of the event. Dense matter within him takes fire. It means it starts burning because disclaiming the egotism. It starts burning my all claims, my all, that is what I am. No, when you burn, you become an ash. Even in this case, not ash, air. With the flame of love. But that was the point attracted my attention. With the flame of love. Love of what? What love? I believe love of reality, love of truth, what my reality is. But it is open to discussion. You will say what you understood. With the flame of love, I want to learn. I need the truth to realize what is going on in this universe, what we are doing here. How come we exist? It is really, really a very important question. How come I exist here? Or even somebody created me. To say it theoretically is easy. To say it theoretically is easy, but how do you explain that what I am? There is only one way. I have no claim to be myself as I am. And I have no other thing around me that they made me here. So myself took the fire and disappeared. And the flame of love of the truth, love of truth, love of reality transforms everything into light now. Otherwise, I will just claim by my own existence, saying that I exist. How? Really seriously think about it, you will realize that when I think about it, impossible to explain anywhere, in any way. How come I exist? What does it mean? Only the way that I don't exist by myself. If I accept this reality, which is very obvious by examining my own being, by examining my own being. I cannot exist by myself. I can exist by the effect of anything around me in the world. What is going on here? Really, really, by saying that I am created, I submit, is okay. That is the first stage. But afterwards, yeah, I am created, but what is going on? In reality, so everything towards the end of the paragraph, it said here, oh, it is a long sentence because since you look at it purely, sincerely, last sentence, yeah, surely, purely, sincerely, and directly, you have understood that what appears in the places of manifestation, it means I am now, I am the place of manifestation, and it's observed in the mirrors. In one sense, I am the mirror, is not the sun. I am not the sun, but manifestation of the sun of a sort. And according to my being, every being is a manifestation of the sun of their own sort. And colored reflections of the sun of a sort again. Now, it appeared to be a human being. One of the Sufi, it's a famous Sufi, not Rumi, but famous in Turkey, it's famous, but historically famous, not a person now. Maybe it may not be the person. He said, I, let me remember, translate this delicate sentence. I wrapped up into a flesh and bone and appeared to be a human being. But my essence is not what appears to you and to me. My essence is just a manifestation of the sun in this example here. For sure, those reflections are in its titles, the sun's title in the example sun, but they don't display all the works of its splendor. What only reflection of it may be a certain degree of manifestation of their reflections. So you see that in my creation, there is wisdom, there is knowledge, but only see the certain degree of manifestation of the knowledge of the by source of existence, creator. In the example, the sun. Now, even your existence really evaporates it. There is no way at all to mention that I have this quality, I have been successful in this way. There is no way that these are my acquisitions. I acquired them. I am given. I am given. I am given. Come to the beginning of this paragraph we read today. Both poor and colorless. Yeah, poor and colorless. I have nothing. And I don't really change it saying that, yeah, it manifested in me, but I developed it, I improved it, I added something to it. No, nothing. Directly transparent, translucent, completely direct manifestation of it, and see nothing but in my existence manifestations of the act of my creator in me. That is the third category, is understanding of his own reality. It needs reflection. Yeah.
Thank you, Brother Ali. Maria, you were saying something?
No, this was great, but I just wanted to share some sentiments here in terms of the influx of our reality, the civilization and society we live in. It's all about I. I mean, I do that too, and it's yikes, I would say. Just like right now, I'm reflecting on all these I'm like this, I like this, and especially if you're surrounded by young people, and when they admire you, oh, I like your shoes, I like your this. You're like, oh yeah, that's good, but astaghfirullah, like it's all, yeah, it's all, I guess, given, provided. It's not even. It's hard, when you're communicating, especially with others, and yes, I guess this is why the training is needed. Just catch yourself and get out. I mean, ideologically, get out of that bubble, because the bubble is so enticing. Yeah, that's what we need to work on, inshallah.
Thank you, inshallah. Yeah. So the depths matter within him. I mean, amazing way the author is sharing this. Takes fire. So any of those wondering really in my existence, who am I? Can I exist by myself? So realizing at every moment I am in need of being given existence by the one who gives existence. So we just so any of those claims of owning myself basically needs to be burnt, and in order to go through the transformation of light and radiance.
And I think a remedy, at least for myself, what I can share is, I guess, working on things becoming, if we want to be like a flame, if you just want to let go of things we hear, things we communicate on a daily basis, which is really 99% at least of my interactions and experiences and communication. This, I would say, the weekend, what we're discussing, that's just a 1% of the reality that I try to reflect upon. So one remedy for me is at least maybe use those interaction communication as background noise. I think that would be the only way to ascend, inshallah. And I think the more because I feel that, you take the rust off and then you go back Monday, whatever you do Monday to Friday. Ooh, dirts get on again. And then, yeah, I think the majority of the time we're just at least I'm accumulating like nasty dust. And weekend comes trying to like clean it out. It's a vicious circle that we need to get out of, inshallah.
Inshallah. Okay, so let's continue. Thus, in this comparison, which is mixed with reality, perfection is reached by means of three ways which are all different. So, which was the flower, the atom, and the translucent particle. And which differ concerning the virtues of those perfections and the details of the degrees of witnessing. But in conclusion, so these are basically form the foundation of the degrees of witnessing, how we witness the universe, our existence, the existence of the universe. So which spiritual journey we are on. But in conclusion and in submitting to the truth and confirming the reality, they are in agreement. So the conclusion and submitting to the truth, confirming the reality, they are in agreement. Just as a man of the night who has never seen the sun and has only seen its shadow in the mirror of the moon cannot squeeze into his mind the resplendent light and awesome gravity particular to the sun. But submits to those who have seen it and imitates them. Similarly, one who cannot attain to the maximum degrees of names like all-powerful and giver of life, through the legacy of Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. Names like all-powerful and giver of life, through the legacy of Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, accepts the resurrection of the dead and great gathering imitatively, and declares it is not a matter that can be understood through the reason. For the reality of the resurrection and last judgment is the manifestation of the greatest name and of the supreme degree of certain other names. Those whose gaze cannot rise there are compelled to believe it by way of imitation, while those whose minds can enter there see the resurrection and last judgment as easily as day and night, and spring and winter, and accept it with an easy mind. All right, so in this paragraph that is read, basically, what I got is how these three ways that the author has been sharing with us in terms of our journey, in terms of interpreting the universe, our existence, and of course, striving to get to the truth, know the reality. Everybody is on the same path. That's why in agreement, submitting to the truth, confirming the reality are in agreement. But the degrees, the details and the degrees of witnessing kind of varies between the three different ways, right? And then this has a consequence of how we confirm the fundamentals of belief, such as resurrection, which is the example used here, the great gathering and resurrection, how we can understand that in this, with the way we are seeing and understanding our existence with an easy mind, or is it just imitation? So we have to ask ourselves really on how do we understand the particularly all the message that we are of the Quran that we are all meant to confirm and not just take it imitatively or on the surface, but confirm it and be convinced and satisfied with that message. And the author will continue, that's why the Quran speaks about the resurrection with much detail and not as compared to the previous prophets and their revelation. All right, any thoughts before I move on to the next? Yes, Brother Ali, please go ahead.
Why do we think that the subject is tied to belief in resurrection?
That's a good question, actually.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking,
Yeah.
go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead first.
Yeah, I was thinking, so all these paths that we are kind of understanding, the path of sainthood and the prophethood in particular, and then we hear about, yes, there are angels, there's divine determining, there is resurrection, great gathering. So all these pillars of belief, but then how are we really assimilating that into our lives, into our living, that kind of makes sense and we are comfortable with all these pillars of belief in our lives. So resurrection being one of the fundamental ones as well, where why the whole life journey is tied to building our life in the next world. Right. So definitely whatever we are doing, must be held accountable for it. So this whole degrees of witnessing does matter in what path we are following.
Shall we go through the text following that? Just as a man of night who has never seen the sun, only the shadow in the mirror of the moon. Now, obviously, it is describing the second category people, droplets, represented here as follower like a droplet. Now, he believes, for example, I understood from the text, but that's my understanding, may be wrong, limited, or really maybe even twisted. But that's how I understood. Now, the man who never has seen the sun, he trusts the moon. And whatever the moon says, he follows it because he trusts the moon. Rather than he himself confirms what the moon tells him, confirms it, doesn't confirm, as the text says, imitates it. For example, because he has not seen the greatest manifestations of the names, only limited manifestations of the names, the names of God, qualities of God, through the capacity of the moon. That is why he has to, for example, imitate the belief in the hereafter according to the news he receives from the moon within his own capacity. Maybe explain something within his own capacity, not exactly how the reality of existence of the universe is. Because by following the reflection of the moon and limiting itself with it, with the capacity of the moon, you cannot learn and experience the greatest degree of manifestations of the qualities of the Creator. Now, this person has to imitate, but if someone gets the, uses the moon, the scholars and sheikh, saints, to learn from them, but in order to understand what the sun itself, the light of the sun itself is exactly. Learn from them, but experience the light of the sun coming from the sun, and therefore seeing the full light of the sun at the highest degree. Of course, it has its own degrees, but comparatively better than being restricted with the reflection of the moon. So this person on the third category, prophetic exemplary category, looks at the universe and examines the universe existence and its own existence in such a way that they are manifesting the infinite qualities of the Creator, not in the form of information that I learned from somebody, but through their experience of the creation of their reality. So use their reality, reflecting, manifesting the infinite qualities of its creator. Of course, for this, we have to use a hadiyah method. It means seeing the infinite qualities in each and every being. So when you see the infinite qualities, you understand that infinite qualities must manifest infinitely. For example, let's take the example of Khaliq, not your last name, Khaliq, the creator. So you are not the creator, according to your last name. Yeah, Khaliq. So anyway, the creator. If we understand that the creator is an absolute creator, but I die. Absolute life giver, but I die. Absolute creator, but my body rots, and it is not body anymore. Contradicts, isn't it? Contradicts. If you carefully read the 10th word, which is dealing with resurrection, it uses this argument that if somebody realizes that the absolute qualities manifested in the universe of the creator is infinite, so his creatorship never accepts or uh, can be explained, manifested itself in a limited way. As far as I am concerned, my consciousness acknowledges the absolute creatorship, absolute life giver who gave me my life. He didn't give me my life only with the capacity that he could give me my life as I am and nothing else. No, all living beings witness that, look, the sunlight is really enlightening the whole living beings. We all have the same source, not only me, limited. Everything continuously renewing the manifestations of the name of a life giver. I say, for this life giver, it will stop giving life to me is unimaginable. That's the reason 10th word really proves that resurrection must exist. Impossible not to exist. Life giver, creator, wise, wisdom. So maximum degrees of names in the third category. In the second category, cannot do this because limited information only. So they can only either say, oh, Muslim scholars say there must be a hereafter. That's why we believe in hereafter. Or Quran literally says there must be a hereafter. Or if the Quran says so, it must be true. Rather than confirming it through his and his existence and through the existence of the universe, that the creator of this universe is quality of creatorship is infinite, and we cannot imagine that he is not radiating, manifesting his creatorship. So when I die, what happens? My body rots, what happens? Impossible. Creatorship continue, life giver is continue, must continue, because it is universal wise manifesting itself. So if I say I died, it doesn't mean that my life disappeared. No, no. Only I don't see it manifesting itself in this form that I am used to in this world. So the resurrection and this greatest gathering, it's just Hashir, definitely must happen. But for the first one, first category, it is not a problem at all. I believe in God and that's it. The second category believes in the hereafter. But why does he believe? Because somebody told him, because Quran said so. But third category, because of the nature of my source of existence, there must be hereafter and resurrection. My existence must continue. That's why it is an example I understood.
So the great gathering is the same thing as resurrection and hereafter.
Hashir.
Hashar.
Now, Ba'athu Ba'del Maut, Ba'athu Ba'del Maut is resurrection. Greatest gathering is Hashir. It means continuing in one's existence and waiting for the last judgment. It means every secret in my life will be disclosed to me. Whatever I have in my heart, in my imagination, in my feelings, will be exposed to me, and my creator knows what I am imagining because he is the creator of the imagination, and feeling is the creator of feeling. So he will say, Ali, that was your reality. What do you want me to do with you now? Do you see what I mean? Because everybody will be his own witness in his creation. It is, I mean, we cannot hide anything. So it will be disclosed. It will be really openly presented to me. And I feel that we have to pray Allah that please Allah protect me to be in a shameful position before you in the resurrection, great gathering for judgment, last judgment, absolute judgment, pure judgment. Not according to the witnessing that, we bring witness from outside. So if someone accuses me, I said, no, look at, I have some witness with me, to some other being. But in the hereafter, the witnessing will be me, myself. Oh, it is really interesting. And we have to really be aware that we cannot hide any of our feelings, even. It is recorded and it will be exposed to me. Oh, it's very frightening to imagine it. So it means we have to ask for forgiveness and watch out for our feelings.
Thank you, Brother Ali. Yes, good reminders, alhamdulillah. Okay, so let me continue basically. Thus, it is due to this mystery that the Quran speaks of the resurrection and great gathering at the highest level and in the most perfect, detailed manner. And our Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, who manifested the greatest name, taught it thus, taught about the resurrection in this way. And as required by the wisdom of guidance, the former prophets did not teach their communities, which were at a somewhat simple and primitive level, about the resurrection of the dead at the highest level and with the most extensive details. It is also due to this mystery that some of those who followed the path of sainthood did not see or could not demonstrate some of the truths of belief to the greatest degree. Oh, interesting. It is also due to this mystery that there are pronounced differences in the degrees of those who have knowledge of God. Numerous other mysteries like these unfold from this truth. Now, since both this comparison hints at the truth a little, and the truth is extremely extensive and profound, we also shall content ourselves with the comparison and not attempt mysteries which are beyond our limit and capacity. That concludes the second branch. So I guess in this conclusion, as the author kind of is making us aware of it, about the differences in the degrees of knowledge of God. So all these confirmations at the highest level, as Brother Ali was mentioning, basically to push us, to encourage us to move from confirming these for ourselves as much as we can. Right? So the one who just sees the moon and then starts imitating is not sufficient, but one has to move forward Any final thoughts on this? So it's interesting also to realize basically that as the former prophets did not teach their communities the extent of the resurrection of the dead at the highest level and with the most extensive details, but the Quran and the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, have expounded on those much more heavily. What could be the reason for that? Is there?
We
Okay.
might say, sorry.
I can take a stab at it. I think the more primitive people are, there's not much to options to accept and reject. So it's perhaps easier to recognize the reality of this universe. But like especially now, at least in this day and age, it's so many options available out here, so much, I mean, to choose from, that it's easy to, yes, say that I believe in a creator of the universe. Oh, death, I'll think about it. Resurrection, I'll think about it. I'm not sure, just giving a stab.
Thank you. Yeah, Brother Ali, you were saying something?
Just Christians say Jesus is resurrected. You know, they have their, what do they call it? In April, they celebrate an Easter.
Yes, Easter.
Yeah. So Jesus resurrected, it means, and we will be resurrected as well. That's very superficial. And Judaic tradition argues about the resurrection, whether really it will happen or not. But in general, they talk about it, but they cannot really come up with evidence as the Prophet ﷺ's message, the Quran's message, directly tells us, because Quran, I mean, we read it, but we didn't discuss. Quran introduces the God as it speaks here. There was a word somewhere there, perfect, greatest name, manifested the greatest name. Yeah. The prophet manifests, the Prophet Muhammad manifested the greatest name as Fariha touched upon it a little bit, because we can now even study the quanta, at the quanta level, how the universe is so wonderfully is subject to continuous change. It is amazing. Of course, they were just seeing that the trees die and seeds comes up a new tree from the, they didn't know DNA is preserved, all the information, it's created, all the information of the previous tree is preserved in order to make sure, guarantee that human beings will understand, oh, since it is preserved, it will be demonstrated. So my actions also are preserved in my memory, and since it is preserved, it will be demonstrated again in the form of another tree. But all the information or heritage my DNA gets from my parents' DNA, or my DNA preserves all what I have done in this world. The life story of my life is stored there. This is the greatest manifestation of the name of Hafiz, the preserver. Preserves everything. So he preserves my life as well. And for what? It is going to be demonstrated. But my son, my daughter's life is completely different life. They have their own record. I have my own record preserved. This is a sign that I am going to be recreated, resurrected, to demonstrate what my reality was in this world. Now, the more strange and I am ashamed of it, my secrets that no one knows but my feelings know will be demonstrated to me as well. Hafizan Allah, being ashamed of it.
Thank you for sharing these thoughts. Any other final comments by anyone? Yes, so the preservation and being presented must be so, alhamdulillah. Oops, control. All right. I think we can stop here for today. And inshallah, next time we'll start from the third branch. Yes, Faria, indeed, serious reflections, thoughts that on how we should not just sit still or idly, but just realize and reflect on these matters and try to make sense and be comfortable in our living in this world. Inshallah, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma alamtana innaka anta al-alimul hakim. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Bi hurmati Surat al-Fatiha.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, everyone.